Hi, Mimi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good.
How's the
I'm
weather this
doing great. Beautiful day out.
Yeah, the first day of summer, right?
Yeah, it is.
What's the temperature where you are?
I don't know. It was nice. I was walking this morning and it's just beautiful. The sun's out, but we live close to the ocean, so we get a little ocean breeze and it just couldn't be any nicer. And I wake up and I'm still here and alive and feeling good. It's a great
Yes.
day.
Yes, that is a great day when you're feeling good and you're alive. Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it's so nice to meet you. I've been following you for a very long time. I've been following your videos that you started, I don't know how long ago. I think I'm maybe 10 years at least. I've been
At least
following you.
a little more, I think. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And you introduced me to Chia Pudding.
Oh, good. It's a winner, isn't it? Always a good one.
Yeah, I learned from you how to make it and what it was. I'm like, what is
Yeah,
this that she's making? So I went out and bought my chia seeds and did all that. And I made my own videos. It's been a very
good.
long time since I've done it, but you're the one I learned from and what that was all
Oh,
about.
good.
So yeah,
It's one of those great recipes to have in your pocket because it's so healthy and it's like a dessert. It's so delicious and easy. So
yeah,
it's
and
a
you can
great
add
one.
things to it, like nut
Yeah,
butter and
yeah.
cocoa. Yeah, I did all that. I need to do that
Great.
again.
Great. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, so I wanted to start out because I'm fascinated because I've been following you for a very long time. You used to be a showgirl,
Yes.
and
I got married at 17 and my husband wanted to move to Las Vegas. And so we moved there and I didn't know what I was going to do there. I was just out of school. He had some job that he got there. That's the reason he moved. And so I started working as an elevator operator, and then I was a switchboard operator, and then I ended up being a showgirl at the Flamingo Hotel.
how
And
did you end up?
well, that was a weird thing. First of all, when am not a dancer or anything, but I was tall. I shrunk a little. I was 5'8", and that was good. And by the way, I just want to say that in the year I was there wasn't like nude like there was later. This was like showgirl with lots of big headdresses and
Oh,
costumes and heavy things. It was like you all you had to do was really walk and stand, pose like that. And the dancers were all shorter and they're dancing away and you're just standing in the corner, right?
oh,
Either end, they'd have, the bookends of showgirls and sometimes two of us or sometimes one of us. And we would just come out in these great gowns and then the dancers would do their thing. So we were actually the showgirls and not the dancers. But the funny story how it happened, I was visiting my sister who was visiting the Flamingo Hotel. And we were out by the pool. I was in a bathing suit, she was, and we were sitting around. And all of a sudden, the waiter comes over and he said, "That man over there would like to send you a drink." And so now I'm just 18 at this point, and so we said, "Oh, thank you so much," and we both accepted. And I look, and he's a famous singer, Tony Martin,
oh,
and
wow.
then he comes over, handsome man, older man, but handsome man. And I knew who he was because, at that time he was a famous singer. And he said, "Oh, where you girls, where are you from?" And I said, "Well, I live here. I'm visiting my sister." He said, "What do you do?" I said, "Well, actually, I'm trying to get a job as a showgirl." We talked for a while. I said, "Come with me." And he took me backstage to the dance director. And he said, "This girl, look at those legs. She wants to be a showgirl. Do you think we have room for her?" Because his show was the next room. And he said, "Well, get behind the curtain and lift it up." So I get behind the curtain. I lift it up so you could just see my legs. And he said, "Perfect." And he said, "You match the other girl. She's the same height as you. She has the same stature as you. And yeah, we can use you." So I had to get some dance stuff, and not that I needed it, but I had to get things to wear for rehearsal. And that's how I got my job there. And I only did like 3 shows, his and Pearl Bailey and one other show that I was a showgirl. But it was, he knew I was younger. I lied about my age, but no one asked for any kind of proof that I was 21. But I didn't tell the truth about my age. I told him I was 21. And he was very nice to me. When all the girls, he'd take them out to dinner and stuff. And he said, "Give her milk." He wouldn't let me order anything. "She'll have milk." So that's how I started. And I only did just a few shows there. And then we ended up leaving Las Vegas, not much after that, but that's where I was a showgirl.
Wow. And so you had to wear one of those big things on your head?
Oh, yes, those were heavy. Big
Yeah.
eyelashes, lots of makeup, you know, and those headdresses. You had to really learn how to walk because most of the time we had to walk down staircases. So you had to, you know, keep your head up and walk and, you know, and just have good posture and then stand there in these very heavy gowns. The gowns were very, very heavy then. And it was really great. And a dear friend of mine who's since passed away, he was really kind of Mr. Las Vegas, Robin Leach. And he had a show,
Oh,
Rich and the Famous. He was a very, very close friend of mine. And he lived in Las Vegas. He took me back there several years ago because they still had that Folly show on. And he said, I'm taking you to the show that you used to be in. And another friend of mine is a dancer, and he came along as well. And we took pictures with the showgirls and everything else. And I felt so short because now I've shrunk some, and I didn't have those kind of heels on. And I'm next to those showgirls, and I see that picture, and I go, "Oh my God, I look so tiny in there." But that was really fun to see those girls and to tell them that I was there in like 1957. You know,
oh.
and yeah, it was great. It was great fun.
You
But
reminded me of that I Love Lucy episode where she had to put on, I don't know if you saw it, she put on that headdress and she's trying to walk.
right. Oh
gracefully.
no, you have to balance. You feel like you straighten your neck with those things. But I just did that for a short time. Honestly, it was a very funny lifestyle. It wasn't my lifestyle. I was so young to be around that. We had to go out to the tables and they called us shills. We had to stand around the tables to gamble. So men would gamble there. You know, that was part of what we did out in our costumes. We had to come out. But it was really a fun experience. It's so funny that you mentioned that because I don't think about a lot of things in my life very often because I live in the moment pretty much.
Yeah.
But when I think back with all the things I've done and the experiences I've had, and in I'm widowed. I was widowed at 29. So then I was in the dating world. And with all the men I dated during that period of time with 4 kids, and I just think about my amazing life and I wouldn't change it for anything. But I did think the other day, what would I tell my 30-year-old self, you know, or my
Yes.
I'm telling you, I wasn't a confident person like I am now.
Really?
I feel I didn't have any, when my husband passed away, I felt like I was a child again, 17. I was 29, but I didn't, you know, in my day, my mother said, you become a secretary, you get married. There was no career path. No one in my family went to college. There was none of that. And so I felt really, you know, it kind of immature in a way, didn't have confidence in myself. But when I look at old pictures of myself, I thought, oh my God, I was actually pretty. I didn't get it, but I look at it and I go, oh, wow. And I say it now, I think it's funny because when I look at myself at 70, I thought, God, I look good at 70. So, you know, I don't look like that now, but I look good at 70. I just think it's so funny how we miss portions of our life by not seeing ourselves or being ourselves or learning to love ourselves or to be true to who we are or be trusting of our life. So I would tell my younger self to have confidence and appreciate how you are today, how you look and everything about yourself, because it will change. It all changes. So you have to appreciate yourself in every part of your life. And so now I'm going to be 84 in September. I can totally appreciate myself. I totally respect myself. I've raised an amazing family. I have 4 kids and 7 grandchildren. I've done an amazing job here in this life. And if you could see yourself at an early age and know that you are going to be what you want and have what you want, do what you want, if you can have confidence in yourself, and if you take care of your health, which is so important, then you can live a longer life and feel great and still as energetic as ever. I feel more energetic than I can ever imagine at my age, and hopeful and excited and passionate. And I'm at this age and I feel that way. So that's really great. If you could get that when you're younger and not worry about how you look and this and that, just be the inner you, just get the inner you and love it the way you are. And even though we're trying to grow and change all the time, you can't be always trying to change yourself. You have to love yourself just the way you are today.
Yes.
No matter what else is going on. That I think is really important.
And
So
be
yeah,
yourself.
Yeah, be yourself. And I only think about things sometimes when people will bring it up to me. Some people I've known for a long time, or my kids will say something, and then I think, oh, I remember this story. And they always say, oh, we got to write your life or something, because
Yes.
I don't remember those things, the exciting things, and the kind of people I were dating, and I didn't even think anything of it. And the things that I did and accomplished are amazing. And when my kids were grown, then everything changed. I became more free. After I was widowed, the most important thing for me is to raise my family, put a roof over their head. There was like no insurance. It was a private plane. I had to get a job right away. I was a stay-at-home mom. My most important thing was feed those kids, have fun with them, put a roof over their head, and that's good. So when they got old enough to be on their own, things changed for me. I became more entrepreneurial. I trusted myself more. I didn't feel as much pressure of having to survive in that way. And I just, went off on a different path and just started to open businesses and do more exciting things. But I worked in the film industry for about 17 years.
Oh, that
where
long.
I got a job right after I lost my husband as a screen extra. It's the people in the background, and you're sitting at a table and you're pretend eating and all that fake stuff. They say, don't eat that food. We sprayed it. You have to pretend you were. Yeah. And I loved it. It was really fun. And then someone spotted me. I had dark hair at the time, and I looked like Mary Tyler Moore. And everybody
I've seen pictures of you when you were young, and you looked exactly like
I did.
her.
We looked, and people used to say it all the time. And then a writer came up and he said, hey, my friend is doing a show with Mary Tyler Moore. I wonder if you'd be interested in meeting him. And she was looking for a stand-in and an assistant, and the show hadn't started yet. So they invited me to her house, and I walked in, and we had a long talk, and she knew I was raising my family. And she said, I'm going to hire you right now. We're going to put you on salary right now. And the show is going to be in several months, but we want to make sure that we have you. And I started as her assistant and her stand-in. And then shortly after, I was very bohemian looking. I made a lot of my stuff, my clothes. I made lots of jewelry. I would say a hippie, a late hippie, but more bohemian style. And I'd come to work, and finally Valerie Harper, who ended up playing the Rhoda character, she told the producers, I want Rhoda to look like her. I'm a window dresser. I should be having character like her. And they said, that's a great idea. So they had me start doing her wardrobe. I invented the scarves that she wore. And they took a lot of the clothes ideas that I had. I wasn't her wardrobe person, but I was her stylist, basically. And I sourced all her clothes. I had someone making things. I'd go to swap meets and find old fabric and tablecloths and stuff and say, let's make a shirt out of this. There's the Rhoda style. And she was so gracious that in her book and any show she went on, she said, this came from Mimi Kirk, that headband and that head scarf. She used to dress like this, and I wanted to dress like her. So she gave me total credit for her iconic wardrobe and headscarf. And that is another wonderful thing that I feel like I did in my life, that I affected more than just myself. And I always wanted to do things for other people. I always felt like serving other people, or however, I don't know where I got that, but as a very early age, I always felt that kind of thing. And so my job with Mary was perfect for that. And then Valerie wanted me, when she went over to her old show, she said, now I have to have her on the set with me. So I moved from Mary to Valerie, and I finished off with her show. So I had an amazing time in MTM for all those years. Plus, I worked on a lot of other things. I was on Star Trek and a lot of the other movies, big movies, everything out in the 70s. I'm somewhere in there. So It was an exciting life, and I was able to support my kids that way. And they had such a fun time with it. We had my daughter was just saying, even though you were a working mom, we always had fun. You were there. We used to sit at dinner and laugh and do things on the weekends, and we always had fun. And it's so nice to hear that my kids feel that way, that they had a good childhood. What else? Other accomplishment for me was never could take care of that. I think kids that I raised are just amazing. But I was a single mom for a very long time, 16, 17 years. I was a single mom.
I think I read that you were Catwoman.
Yes, I played Catwoman in something. I wasn't the Catwoman, but I
Okay.
played a Catwoman on a TV show in
Okay.
a black, one-piece cat suit down the aisle. I was a bad Catwoman. I was like, I knifed somebody in an alleyway or something, but I got picked to do that. So in my extra days, that's what was happening. I was getting picked to do all kinds of different things. I would double people, where I didn't even think I looked like them, but I would be doubling people. And, I just got a lot of work in the 17 years I was in the business. And it's funny because as an extra, in those days, you had to call the casting agency at the studios every day to see if you got picked for a job or if there was a job for you.
Yeah.
They would turn in what they needed for the day, and then the extras would go to the phone and call in. When I say go to the phone, there was no cell phones. We had to go to a phone and wait in line until the other extras were done. Or sometimes the casting person say, who else is there with you? And you had to look down the line and say, oh, do you have any job for so-and-so and so-and-so? And then we would get our work that way. So
wow, what an interesting life that you had for 17 years.
It was. I feel really lucky that I've had those kind of things. And then my jobs after that, I left the business and I started a jewelry company, and then I sold that. And then I didn't know what I wanted to do. And my kids said, oh, just go get a regular job somewhere. So I went to an agency and they booked me into a billionaire's house as their major domo, running the whole household and working for the woman basically of the house and the gentleman. I won't mention any names, but a billionaire. We used to put on a lot of fundraising events, and I was there for about 3 years. It was just pretty awesome. Traveling to Europe with them just as a guest on boats and yachts and private planes, and a life I never knew, but it really had fun with it for that period of time. And then I wanted to do something else. I think that I'm driven by my passion. And if I don't have it for something, I need to get something else that makes me feel passionate. And I was very involved in concerned about our environment. This was in the late 80s. And I decided I wanted to leave there. And I started producing and putting out an environmental newspaper in Los Angeles.
Really?
And yeah, and it was a free newspaper, and it would be put on the stands with all the newspapers that you could go if you're getting coffee or whatever and have a free newspaper. And I had invited people in who wanted to write for me, and I got a printer and an office, and I don't know, I'm not even a writer at the time. And I put out this newspaper for over a year, and then I opened up one in San Francisco. And then I had these talks about, new ways of doing life, voluntary simplicity, kind of like how to live a more simple life and how to be more conscious about what the planet is doing. And at that time, it's so interesting to me, a lot of the car makers invited me to see their electric cars in the 80s, the late 80s. They were there all the time. I went to see them and they didn't have them out yet, but they were working on them in the 80s. I was so, they wanted to show me that they were doing this. And, I was saying, well, when are they going to come out? Well, one place came out and then they pulled them off the market after a while because I don't know. I think it had something to do with the gas, the people who had money with gas and said people won't be buying gas and they'll be electric. And there was a lot of people who did not want to do anything for the environment at the time. They're still deniers, even though now we know it's real.
Yeah.
There's still people who don't want to face it, that we are in this kind of peril right now. But I think to myself, back to the days when I did the paper, if people would have only paid more attention. So some of the film studios have started using recycled paper, and I would tell them where to get products. And the only people that can advertise in my paper were companies that were doing things that were solution oriented towards the environment and sustainable. And no one even knew those words at the time. And so, that was a big thing for me. And then I decided I had to make my life more simple. And
Right.
I moved. A man that came in to advertise property in Taos, New Mexico, they were doing solar and, doing everything the right way, living off the grid, basically. I went to Taos, New Mexico, fell in love with it, and I ended up moving there and for about 5 years. And, because I wanted to live a more simple life myself. And basically when I was there, I did a lot of fundraising raising for nonprofits and so forth. I tried to do things that were local. I have done so many things.
You have.
I've done so many things, but honestly, I invented a board game for women. I've actually invented 3 board games. I ran that business when I came back from Taos. I had invented the game while I was there. And I just went and did it. I don't even know how to do things. My kids say all the time, I don't let fear stop me. I don't let not knowing stop me. I just keep moving ahead. And I ran my business for a little over 10 years before I got into this, health food thing. Although I've been a vegetarian and vegan for most of my life, I didn't make anything of it. But then I did this business for 10 years and I had all these products. Cowgirls Ride the Trail of Truth was the name of the board game. And then I had, jewelry and tea towels and t-shirts and all kinds of stuff that had this old vintage cowgirl stuff on it. And the business was a huge success. I was in so many stores, sold hundreds of thousands of games. The business was wildly successful. There was never anything like it before. And I ran that business until I was 70. I started in my early 60s, late 50s actually, and ran it until I was 70. And then I sold it. And then the person didn't continue with it. But right at that time, I was on my Facebook page, and then some little ad popped up and it said PETA, which is People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. PETA is looking for the sexiest vegetarian over 50. So fill out the form and send in a picture and your information.
Oh, that's how that came about.
I just did it. I don't know why. It was one of those little fluky things, and I just filled it out. And then I get an email saying, "Can you show proof of your age?" I was 70, and they said, "Can you show proof of your age?" Because I only sent a picture in, and I said yes, and I sent them my passport photo or something, and then they said, "Okay, well, we're going to pick 10 finalists, and then we'll let you know." Then the next thing I know, I'm one of the finalists, and I was the oldest one. People were more closer to 50. It was over 50, and there was one lady. She had a bathing suit, and she had lettuce leaf cups for her bra, and she's all for her bikini, and there were just these really adorable women who were, vegetarians. And I think I won because I was the oldest. But anyway, it went on for a month. It was a national contest. It went on for a month. And I woke up one day and I opened up my computer and there's my face and I won. I had shocked completely. Then I get a telephone call and they said, "You won." I said, "I just saw that." They said, "Can you do some press? Because we're going to let people in San Diego know, the press. Are you comfortable?" I said, "Yeah, I'm comfortable." So then the press started coming to my door, and then the TV stations invited me. And at that point, I had my Facebook page. I had my family and friends stay in touch with my grandkids, about 100 people. Within 2 days, I had 1,500 people after one of these TV things. And I was there's a bunch of YouTube videos, like in the early days of me when they first interviewed me. And I was just like, was shocked about the whole thing. And it made me a public person is what happened. That made me a public person. Before that, I was not. That PETA made that happen. And then I started being invited all kinds of places. And then I was giving recipes online. And then people said, "Why don't you write a book?" And I went, "Well, I don't know, write a book. Okay, well, I'll put my recipes in a book." Well, I don't measure anything when I cook. I just make it.
Yeah.
And all my recipes were like that. All the recipes were just like that. And so I said, well, I'd have to really get serious about this. And this one lady who owned a raw restaurant said, "I have an agent. Do you have any information you can send me what the book will be like?" And I said, "Yeah." So I sent it to her. She passed it on. I got a call the next day and they said, "Oh my God, you're 70. We want this book." So I said, "Okay, I'll have to write it." And that's my first book was Live Raw. And it's still today, it's a standalone great book. It was a bestseller right off the bat. And my friend came over to help me write down the recipes as I was measuring. So we would get that right. And the book still is selling today like crazy. And now, all in my 70s, I wrote 7 books. So I want to say to people out there, and women in particular, it's never too late to do anything. You can do anything you want. And if you don't know how to do it, learn how to do it.
Yes.
Go to school, Google it, practice it. Don't just say, I want to be a dancer and then never dance. Start dancing. Don't say you want to be a chef. Start cooking for people. You have to actually take physical action to make something happen, and you will get better at it. And you just have to do what you feel is. Oh, I'm sorry. You still there? I'm sorry. Went off for a minute. You still have to do what you feel is what makes you happy.
Yeah.
And anyone can do anything, honestly. So recently, I'm going to bring you up to date. There was way too much to tell you about my life and my love life and my
no, it was great.
But anyway, my recent thing is that I started painting because the pandemic kept me in the house, and I was making sourdough bread like crazy, giving it out to everyone. I had to perfect sourdough bread, me and everybody else. It's a challenge, and it's not something that's easy to do right off the bat. You really have to learn the techniques and everything. So for a year, I was making sourdough bread, and I finally, of course, made great sourdough bread. It's amazing, and I've got the technique down. And then it was like, okay, now what? I'm still home most of the time, except for walking, and we're not going anywhere or traveling, and I'm not doing speaking engagements right now. So I said, I feel like painting or something. So I went and got some paints, and I finished. And my boyfriend of 20 years, by the way, I'm with a man 20 years younger for 20 years.
Yay, Mimi.
Yeah, okay, right. And I started painting. He said, oh my God, you can paint. So I sent picture out to my family, and they went, oh my God, you can paint. This is unbelievable. So I just kept painting. And then my granddaughter says, Grams, I'm telling you, you can sell these paintings. So she started an Instagram page for me, Mimi Kirk _art, just if you're on Instagram. And I do a lot of commission work now. I've sold 70 paintings in less than a year.
70?
70 in less than a year. And some of them were commissions, and others were just things I just painted. And I guess I have a knack, and I love it. And now I'm going to be doing my first pop-up in Malibu, California on July 17th. Anybody who follows me, I'll be putting out where and when and all of that. I've got a pop-up in a brand new hair salon that's huge, beautiful.
Where is it? Where is it?
In Malibu? In Malibu. In Trancas.
Oh, Trancas. Okay.
In the Country Mart in Trancas. It's called C Salon, CIE Salon. And they're just opening. She has another one in Malibu. She's a specialist colors, the star. She's amazing. And she's just opening a blow dry place there. And I just went the other day to hang paintings. Someone came out and hung the paintings for me. And then I'll bring the rest of them for the show on the 17th. It'll be my first pop-up in person. All the paintings I sold were online. And I probably had 10 commissions, and the rest were paintings that I painted like that. And I paint abstract. I tried painting years ago, like trees and whatever, but it wasn't anything. But abstract, oh, I love it. I just go wild up there. I was painting everything just gray and black and white. And then for some reason, my boyfriend said, I got to have some color here in the house. So I painted him a big color painting, and then I got into the color. And now I just go in there, and it just all comes from here. It just comes out. That's all I can say. I don't know how I do it. When I'm done, I look at it and I go, God, who painted that? That's how I feel. So, and the more I do it, I feel like I'm learning more techniques and I'm getting better, but I've made enough things that people really appreciate it. And I'm very happy painting. And I think that energy gets transmitted into my paintings. So I think the people who have bought paintings from me said, oh my God, I'm so happy every time I look at your painting. And that's what I feel when I'm painting it. So, and I have collectors who've bought 2 and 3 paintings from me too. So it's really life doesn't stop because you get older. And the way you have to think about it is, as long as you have your health, you can do anything. And I was a raw foodist for about 12 years. Always a vegan and vegetarian, early life vegetarian at 30, because I didn't want to harm animals. It was a compassionate choice. And then later I realized how important it was to be vegan. And so I did that, which I find very easy today, not so easy in the 70s, but much easier today because there's things in the market and, there's things out now. And then I became raw because that I thought was the most important thing, because my blood pressure and cholesterol was up in my 60s. And my family's health history is not very good. And the doctor gave me prescriptions, which I didn't want to fill. So I kept looking online and raw food kept coming up. So I went to start to eat raw food and make raw food. And then I ended up loving it. And 6 months later in my checkup, the doctor said, oh, that prescription worked great. Your blood pressure and cholesterol normal. And as I said, I never filled it. I just changed my diet. So I know how healing food is medicine. It's true. It's not that you can't have something sometimes. It's what you do most of the time that counts. So I was a raw foodist, and then I was traveling so much. And I would say in the last maybe 3 years, I started eating a little cooked food, all vegan, of course, but cooked food. And now I eat probably 80% or more of raw foods because I eat salads almost every day, fruits and stuff. But I eat some cooked vegan food now.
Okay, I was wondering about that, if you were still raw.
No, I eat some
way.
cooked. No, I eat some cooked. But, you know, I had a lady the other day that said, oh my God, you eat cooked food. I'm so disappointed. It's so upsetting. And I said, don't get upset. Don't put me on a pedestal. If you be upsetting about yourself, or just, you know, just think about yourself. I'm not doing this for anything. I don't have to show anybody anything. I have to be truthful to myself.
Right.
So I'm eating cooked food. My health is as good as ever. I walk 5 days a week, almost 4 to 5 miles every day. I'm energetic, as you can tell, and very healthy. And the cooked food works for me. So you just have to be concerned about your own life and what you want to do. I don't have to say a percent. I never felt I had to say I'm 100% raw. People would think that was such a big deal, 100%. What if you're 90%? Does it make you not a good person? Or 80%? Does it make you something's wrong with you? No, I mean, you have to be true to yourself. Do I eat chocolate? Yes, every day I eat dark chocolate. You know, I mean, it's full of antioxidants. I think it's fine. I walk with a 92-year-old lady. I make her chocolates all the time. She eats my chocolates every day. So she's not a vegan or anything, but she is a health crazy person and has kept her health in really, really, really good shape. And she's still walking with me. And she just turned 92. So people, don't let the number make you feel like you're not viable anymore. 7 books in my 70s, you're viable until it's the last breath. You have influence on people by the way you live and the kind of person you are. Kindness is so important, especially now. Caring for other people, smiling and making other people feel good, not lousy. It's very important to do that. And you know, I think that's part of it. And then your mental attitude about yourself. And people tell me, they think, they go, oh my God, I'm so crazy. I just do this. I said, don't say that zip it up. Don't say negative things about yourself. Don't say anything you don't want. Only say what you want, because everything's energy. And I really
law of attraction.
Yes. And your words can hear you. Your cells are like, you know, they're listening to you all the time. So don't say bad things about yourself. Watch it. And obviously don't say it about anybody else, because that comes back at you. So, you know, you have to be very conscious. So what you eat, a little exercise. I wish I would have known exercise. I didn't like to exercise before, but now I love it. I really didn't. I used to say, well, I wish I could get better at that. Now I'm good at that. But that's one thing I would have looked back and said, start walking, do something. I do a little yoga and I'd walk, but I wasn't regular at it. Make a point to be regular. That's where it counts. You know, 3 days a week, that's good, but just do it 3 days a week. And that's what I didn't do before. But my diet was very great, a really, really good diet. Always fresh food, no packaged foods, you know, organic, mostly organic, except when I traveled, I couldn't always find it. But so I think that the food and the exercise and the way you think keep you young and keep you healthy. And just because my family has everything, cancer and osteoporosis and heart problems and everything. No, seriously, my family. I'm the youngest of 7. I have one sister living. My mom lived a long life. My dad died in his 60s. I lost a sister in her 50s, a brother at 30. I lost my whole family, basically. And the ones who were alive were taking lots of medication. And I don't. So I say that it isn't your genes, it's your cells. Like the Biology of Belief is a book by, what's his name? I can't think of it, but I'll think of it in a minute. Bruce Lipton. And he talks about it's your cells. The biologists say it's your cells because they're regenerating all the time. And that is what's keeping you young. You lose cells as you get older, but it's your cells. And since they can hear you And since your body is like, I don't know, 80 something percent water, you have to stay hydrated and you have to think, about your body and your cells, which I talk to them all the time and thank
Yeah.
them.
I was going to ask you, have you ever been to the blue zones?
No, but I read it and I know all about it. And when I give talks, sometimes I talk about it because not everybody understands. I love the thinking from all those people in all those areas and how they think, not to overeat, eat fresh, keep a good frame of mind. I mean, these are people living over 100. And the biggest question people ask me, can I drink wine? Well, the men in Sardinia are drinking wine, 2 glasses of wine every day, but they're not like big glasses like we have here. They're small glasses, like water glasses they use or something. They're drinking 2 glasses of wine. I think some of them probably drink more, but I've met Sardinian men. I think that they probably drink more, but they say 2 glasses is fine. And they
socialize.
They socialize. They drink a wine it has double the resveratrol in it, which is very important to our body. It's in other foods, but it's in the wine, and they drink it. It's called Cananu wine, like Cananu, one word, Cananu wine. You can get it in the States, and it's the wine that they drink. It actually is not bad. It's a dark red wine, and that's the wine they drink. It has double the resveratrol. The grapes have double the resveratrol. I'm not a drinker. I don't really. I'll drink maybe a few sips of wine or something with my family, but I don't really drink a glass of wine or anything.
I'm the same.
But the other day, we had company coming, and my boyfriend bought this bottle of Chianti, which I like because it's very nice in Italy. It's just a mild wine. You can drink it at lunch and you don't get tipsy or anything. Anything makes me tipsy. So he had a bottle of that, and there was some in there. I said, well, I'm going to take a glass down to my studio and paint. I had the best time. I had 1 glass of wine. I actually drank the whole glass of wine, and I had music on, and I was just painting, and I had paint all over me and on my hair and everywhere. I had paint everywhere. And my painting turned out great. It was, it's freeing. I mean, and no two people paint alike. You just have to paint with freedom, like a kid. You don't think about, oh, does this look good? Does this not look good? You just have to let go and let it come from here. And I had the best time. That was my glass of wine. My family, my kids were laughing so hard, my grandkids. They thought it was funny. I posted, I just had a glass to them. I sent them, and we have a family chat. I said, I just had a glass of wine. I went down and painted. They said, oh my God, that's so funny. And then 1 glass, I came up after that paint, went to sleep. I was still finished. But it was so much fun.
You do everything. You're not afraid of anything.
No, my daughter said that to me yesterday. She said, fear never stops you because you're not worried about making a mistake. If you make a mistake, you just do something different. And I do feel that way. If you don't do something right, what is the big deal? And I feel that with painting. If I don't like something, it's just paint. I can paint over it. In fact, the more paint I put on a painting, the more layers I put on a painting, the better it gets. And I know when I say this is good now, I can stop. So I just think, and when I write, it's like that. My writing comes from, and inventing the board game, I learned a really big lesson about creativity. Stop your mind from correcting you. Stop your mind from telling you what to do. Like I would be on the computer and my fingers would just be typing. And honestly, the board game, I've never done anything like that. It just came from here. And every time my mind would get in there, I'd say, all right, I'll address you later, go away. And I would just try to be in the moment and let flow out of me. And I think that's creativity. And that's how I write. When I write my books, I can read it later and like my painting, I go, who wrote that? Because I'm not even in my head for it. It's just happening. And
creativity is a good way to get out of your head.
It is. And that's where you have to practice being out of your head. Keep quiet, stop correcting yourself. Stop making comments about yourself. Just finish it. And you can fix it later. That's what I used to say. Just get it out there. And then later you can look and see if you want to change anything. And in my writing, most of the time, I didn't change anything. It was right. It came from the right place and it was right. And now I do the same thing with my paintings. And that we have to stop being self-critical. And in life in general, have to stop being self-critical. I think that's what makes you feel confident and secure in yourself, because you're just being you with your faults, the things you don't do well, the mistakes you make, whatever it is. It's just you. You're not trying to do any damage. You're just trying to live your life and have a good time and be a good person. That's basically it. And when you let your true self out, that's when you start enjoying life. And that's when you can do your best work. That's how I really feel about,
people
that.
are worried about judgment from others. And so it's,
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like this one lady who said, "What? I'm so disappointed in you." I mean, you can't be worried about judgment from other people. I mean, anyone who's in the limelight or a public person in any way whatsoever, celebrities, everybody, there's going to be people who love them and people who don't like them. And that's just the world. I mean, not everyone's going to like you, and not everyone's going to think you're funny, or everyone's going to think you're a good artist, or not everyone's going to like every painting I make, or maybe like none of them. I'm painting because I must do it. It's just something I love to do now.
Yeah, and you don't care if people don't like
matter.
it. They do like it, whatever.
Exactly. And if I sell, I've always felt, well, if I sell them, great. If I don't sell them, that's fine too. I'm not painting because I want to make a business out of it. I'm painting because I just love doing it so much. It's so gratifying to me. And I think that about everything. And then the other day, for some reason, something came across my feed, and it was flamenco dancers, these women. I went, oh my God, I'd like to learn flamenco. You've heard it here. I haven't even told my family that yet, but you've heard it here. Because they were clicking their heels, and they got their skirts, and they were older women, and their bodies weren't perfect like you would say, model perfect. And they're swinging their skirts, and they're clipping their heels, and they're twisting their hands like this. And I thought, oh my God, talk about freedom. That looks like so much fun. So who knows? I might be taking some flamenco.
Yeah, when you
my family would be surprised if I do it. They'll just say it's another thing she's going to accomplish.
One of those things.
One of those things.
One more thing
she's going to accomplish. Right. So
I love it. I think after you do the flamenco dancing for a while, I'll interview you again, because I want to find out what happens after that.
We'll see. I'm painting right now, but I might need another thing to do or something, and that's going to be it. But I started watching everything on YouTube, all the flamenco dancers. I was so taken by it, because that's what that is about. You have to be free. It's a total freedom. And the women who do that you're in the moment. What is it like when you're a creative person, and when you're doing something, nothing else matters? There's nothing out here. You're just here doing what it is, writing, dancing, painting, whatever that is. You're only in that moment. It's so healthy and freeing to have a hobby or a business or whatever that makes you feel that way, that there's nothing, no worries, no health, financial, children, any kind of problems, car problems, anything, nothing. You're just in the moment of doing something. There's something so beautiful about that. And I really like, my lifestyle with everything. I used to do a lot of food videos and stuff, but now I'd rather talk about freeing yourself to do whatever you want in life.
Yes.
Don't wait. If you're not happy, you're the only one who can make you happy. A mate can't make you happy. Other people don't make you. Might have a moment of happiness, but you know what makes you happy. Is it sitting in a bubble bath and having a half hour to listen to music and a nice candle or something? Is it going out and getting a pedicure and manicure? Is it going to a dark movie theater? What makes you feel good? What makes you happy? You make yourself happy. No one else can do it. People can try, but don't depend on other people. They can make you happy, but don't depend on anyone else to make you happy but yourself. And it's the way you think about things that make you happy. You can think a bad thing, or you can think a good thing. And to me, every experience has some good merit in it. Even the things that look dark and not good, somehow that's a lesson in there that's going to help you later in life. No matter how bad, it's something that you're going to have later in life. And I see so many brave, amazing people who've lost limbs, or who have diseases, who have something that's some permanent thing in their life they have to deal with. And yet they're accomplishing major things. False legs, they're running, they're playing volleyball out of a wheelchair, they're doing anything. These are like courageous, strong-willed people. And all of us have that in us. It's our mind that tells us no, but you can turn anything around. And I see that, and I watch those people, and I'm in awe of people who do that. And I do it in my own way, but that is like a huge thing when I see that I'm still surfing. I only have one arm. The shark got it, but I'm out here surfing again. It's like, holy moly, what are we complaining about?
Exactly.
Some little thing. So I just think we're amazing as human beings, and we can accomplish whatever we want, and we can have what we want. Don't ever think you can't be happy or have what you want. You are writing the script. You're in charge, no one else. I don't care how bad your life is. It's the way you look at it. Listen, right now, it's a hard saying that thing, because when we look at what's happening in the Ukraine, in Ukraine, not the Ukraine, in Ukraine, I mean, that breaks my heart. I can see things on TV all the time that just break my heart. What are they to do? You know, some
Right.
people left, but others just stay and fight for what they think is right. And those people fighting, those courageous people who stay there and fight, they're doing what they feel is right. They're doing something that they need to do for themselves.
Yeah.
And even the people who left. But the whole thing is a very sad situation. How do we get there? How do people kill kids? How do we get where we are right now in this country? And that is because we're too divided, and we have to stop and look at the human being and be able to see what's good in somebody instead of the opposite, because we need healing in this planet right now. We have to heal the planet, and we have to heal what's going on. And with all the intelligence in all the nations and everywhere I've traveled throughout the world, people are just like us. They want their families to be happy. They want to be able to put food on the table. They want people I've met everywhere in the world, the women I've met, they're just like I am. There's no border, no separation, no nothing. They're a human being. And no matter what color their skin is, they still want the same kind of thing. How is it in this intellectual life that we live now that this tragedy is happening? I don't understand it. And all I can do is on a daily basis is do my best to keep the energy at a higher level. And that's all we all can do. We can't solve everything, but in our own personal life, we can. We can bring our energy up to something that compounds with yours and mine and theirs and this person over here. All of us together, by keeping our energy at a high level, can help balance, make change, you know. And I think that's all we can do. So even though your heart goes out and you feel heartbroken in your daily life, you have to bring this up. Smile at the checker at the market, you know, talk to the server who's serving you something, treat people human and caring. And I think that helps bring things up, make someone smile, you know.
Yeah.
So,
and again, show up as yourself.
Exactly. That's really very, very important, because who wants to be anyone else? They're all taken. You have to be yourself.
Oh, they're all taken.
Everybody else is taken. Why copy somebody? They've already done it. You know, just be yourself. That's all. And trust that what you are is good. You know, be yourself. No one's perfect. You have faults. You have this or that. Just be yourself. So what? Just be you.
You came along at the right time, because I've been doing Facebook Lives. I said, I'm going to do 14 in a row for 14 days. And I've been doing videos for a very long time, and photos, all that, for a very long time. But I'm like, I don't want to go live because I'm afraid of what I'm going to say or not say. What are people going to think? So I said, I'm going to do an experiment, and I'm going to go on for 14 days. Today was day 9.
Good for you.
Yeah, but it is very scary. But if I could just be like you and like, I don't care, it's okay. But I was saying today, I go, you know, I'm still scared. I'm still having anxiety, but here I am. Here's what you get. And I have notes, and I'm telling them I have notes in front of me. I'll send some to you. You can see what I did.
Okay. Well, let me say something. When I first started doing videos, I used to do a YouTube video every Thursday. And
I remember I tuned in too.
Yeah. And I said, and people are asking for it all the time. I did one. Hello.
They're so good. And you were yourself.
No. And yeah. And
that's
people,
what I like.
And the other thing I said to my boyfriend, because he would video it, I said, if I make a mistake, just leave it. This is no editing. I'm going to be me. And like one day I forgot to plug something in. I was like, whoop, I forgot to plug it in. I did one recently, and I forgot to get the plunger for the juicer. And I thought, oh God, I have to turn around and go in a cabinet. That's all in my mind. I was like, oh, here's a piece of celery. I'll use that as a plunger.
Oh!
It's like, that's what I did. I was pushing everything down with the piece of celery. And I thought, and I just think it's funny to be yourself. I laugh at myself all the time. I have great humor about myself and all my little weird things that I make mistakes or whatever, but it's okay. And I think that is what we want to see, you being you, and whatever that is. And if you make a mistake, big deal. So then you could just laugh at it, or you could say, oh my God, it doesn't have to be perfect. You have a purpose about what you're doing. You're trying to bring people information.
Yes.
that you think would be helpful to them. And you're the glue that holds it apart. Not that I've given you any chance to speak, because I have not stopped since you started talking to me. I don't.
You're the perfect person.
People don't have time to ask me many questions, because once I open up, I'm just like, I'm a loose cannon. I'm just being myself. And today I happen to feel super, super energetic. I just got back from a walk before I came on with you. And I'm like, and I had a smoothie. So I'm just like, full of energy. But anyway, you just really, this is me. and this is me at all stages. And this is me making mistakes. And this is me, not doing something right. And this is me misspelling something or sending the wrong person a message, or, I'm sorry, that wasn't meant for you. That was meant for someone else. And, whatever. And I don't know if age has freed me up or if it's always been there, and I've always tried to be myself, but I think even now I'm more outspoken than ever, because if you don't say what you feel, you're holding something back. You need to say what you feel, and you don't want to hurt anybody or say anything damaging, but you need to be honest and you need to say what you feel. And I think that's important. I want a friend like that. I want a friend who can tell me anything. Yeah. And tell me if I'm doing something that's not right or what. I want a friend like that. I want someone in my life who can always call me out if something's not right. And because that's a good friend. The ones who keep silent, not so good, because, hey, you got something in your tooth, whatever. You want someone to tell you. That's what you want. That's how you grow. I always say to my boyfriend, if I do things that annoy you, let me know right then, because then I need to work on it. And he said,
does he?
No, he tells me he needs to trade me in for a 90-year-old. I'm wearing him out. That's what he tells me. And he's 20 years younger, right? No, he doesn't. He says, no, everyth's fine. I like you the way you are. Well, I know I'm not perfect, but I guess I don't do anything that annoys him that much. But no, he said that to me. When I met him, he didn't know my age. I met him online, and I didn't tell my age at the time. I didn't lie, but I didn't say what I was. And then we were going out for a few months, and he saw some press that was written about me, and he said, I know how old you are. And I went, oh, no. He was 45, and I was 64. It was like, whoa, that seems so large. But honestly, we've been together 20 years, and it doesn't feel any different in age. We feel the same, like there's no age difference to me. In fact, I do feel I have more energy than him. So
this is what happens when you eat a healthy diet. I'm telling you, not like you.
Love you, raw. It is medicine. Food is medicine. When you pick up a red pepper and you pick up this colorful fruit and vegetables, that's going to do something. It's bioidentical to your body. When you have something in a package, it's manufactured, it's fortified. Yeah. Fortified vitamins on a package of cereal turns into fat. It doesn't fortify anything. It doesn't know where to go because it's not natural. And they keep trying to tell us this is natural. It's not. It's man-made somewhere. You want what's growing, what was meant to be eaten, and you want to have a variety of that. And you want to learn how to either eat it raw or prepare it. Like I can eat salads and almost do every day. I love salads. I make them all. Oh yeah,
we eat one every night. Yeah.
I think a salad, and I eat big salads and I eat juice, and I try to eat as healthy as possible. And sometimes I don't eat something healthy. Sometimes I'll eat something that's not healthy, but it's like I say, it's what you do most of the time that counts. And I don't berate myself and say, oh my God, I'm off the wagon. What did I do? No, I look at that, whatever it is I was going to eat that maybe not be as healthy, and say, okay, give me as much energy as you can. Just give it a good vibe. Don't look at it and be ugly to it, or guess what? It's going to go in your body that way. So don't think wrong about something if you're eating it. If you feel like eating it, give yourself that. Just give it to yourself. This is supposed to be a happy life. You're not supposed to be suffering out here. So do those things, but just make sure what you do most of the time is good for you, not what you do some of the time. I drink green tea.
Let me ask you a real question. Do you still use the dehydrator, and do you use an Instant Pot?
I don't use an Instant Pot. I never got that. Okay. Instant Pot. I don't really have room for anything. And I don't use the hydrator as much as I used to, because I was dehydrating a lot of things at the time. But now that I eat some cooked food, I don't have to use the dehydrator. Like I would make zucchini pasta, a lasagna out of zucchini, which I still do. And I used to put it in the dehydrator to warm it. I use the dehydrator not only to make crackers and chips and kale all kinds of things I used it for. But I used to warm my food in there. But now that I can use the oven on low, I'll do that. And I touch it. I just make sure it's not, cooked. It's not bubbling. It's just warm. So I make that lasagna, which is amazing. The zucchini lasagna I make is really delicious. So no, I think a dehydrator is very, very important if you're going to eat healthy and eat a lot of raw foods. I think it's really great for a lot of things. I like to make my own cheeses, but now there are some really good raw cheeses out on the market. And I know a couple of people when I go to LA that make really good vegan cheeses. And I have a great cheese recipe out on YouTube. And I think it's amazing. Anyone could make cheese. I make, cheeses out of cashew nuts. I make a loose cheese with nutritional yeast in it and fresh herbs, which I always have in my yard. I always grow in pots. And I always make a loose cheese that I can put on zucchini noodles. So I have a creamy noodle kind of dish. And then I make hard cheeses, which I age for 3 weeks in the refrigerator. And those are delicious that you can make on your homemade crackers and stuff. You can buy raw crackers, you can buy things. So sometimes I do that, and I'm not always making everything. And my last book, my last recipe book in that way, I did 3 books in 1 year. I did a water book, a juice book, and a water book, a dog book, and a tea book in 1 year. But the one I did before with my daughter, Raw Vitalize, that book, you don't need a dehydrator. You can make all this food. It's a 21-day kind of a reset to see to get your body healthy in 21 days, called Raw Vitalize. It's a really, really a great book, I have to say. It's in its 5th printing. I just got a notice a month ago from my publisher. They said this book is in its 5th printing. It's really done well. And people love it. And there's a Raw Vitalize book club on Facebook where other people are making the food, and, it's a great support group in there. And all the recipes, you need a blender or a food processor, or at least a good sharp knife and a board, but you don't need a dehydrator. So I think it's a good book to buy for someone who's just trying things out, trying to see if they like it. It's got a shopping list in it. So it can tell you what you need to have in your home. And then you go out and just buy the basic stuff. And then you go out buy the fresh foods. It's got really delicious recipes that you will use forever, whether you're all raw or not. You will be using these recipes in your weekly food, one way or another. And I think it's a really good book. And so is Live Raw. That's a great one. I used to sell all the books from my house so I can sign them and send those out to people. But I only have a few now left of those. And the rest you can get on Amazon. If you're looking for Live Raw, you can get it on my website, youngonrawfood.com. And if you're looking for the dog book, which is awesome, I just have to say, it doesn't matter what you feed your dog, even though it's meat. A lot of people don't want to feed their dog meat. So we have complete and balanced meals. We used a food formulator to help us. Complete and balanced meals if you don't want to feed your dog meat. But even if you feed them meat, they need to have, like us, you need to have some vegetables. You need to have some raw foods in there. So we teach you how to make some foods that will be very good for your dog, and you can add it to the other food that you feed them. You can make some of this and add it in. So that book, I do have that. You can buy that on my website as well. That's an evergreen. And even if you just don't want to cook for your dog, just reading all the information in there is going to be helpful, and fabulous pictures of dogs. But I wrote it with my one of my daughters, who's a really dog. She's knows about herbs and stuff for dogs. And we wrote this book to help people to feed their dog healthier. One of the longest living dogs was a vegan, and he lived to be 25 years.
25?
25, it's in the Guinness Book of Records. And then she had another dog that lived almost that long, 20 years or something. And the dog got a lot of exercise, but she only fed the dog a vegan diet. And I have friends who feed their dog a vegan diet. It needs to be balanced, not like you can scrape your food off and give that to your dog off your plate and think your dog's going to be healthy. They need a balance of certain things. And that's why we wrote this book, because we wanted to make sure that people were not just feeding their dogs vegan food off their plates and thinking, oh, I'm vegan, so I can feed my dog vegan. You can. Dogs actually can be all vegan. That is true. A lot of research we did, but that is true. They don't need to have the meat. But you might as well just put this good food into their other food, that if you want to give them meat. This is food that'll really help them a lot. And we all love our dogs so much. I have grand dogs, basically. Mike and I are traveling, so we don't have dogs now, but I just love dogs. I can't even imagine not doing the best for your dog. My daughter fixes these meals for her dog, and she's very easy. She makes the grains for, like a week, and then she adds all the fresh stuff in, just like she would cook for herself. And her dog's like, healthy and happy. And
Yeah, my dog loves fresh vegetables. She
Oh
loves
yeah.
tomatoes and carrots and zucchini and cucumbers and apples.
Yeah, and there are things you can feed your dog, and there are things you shouldn't feed your dog.
Yeah.
But that's what's so good with this book. But you can take a microplane and just grate some of the stuff over their food that they're eating, carrots or something. They need it, just like us. They get cancer, they get diabetes, they get a lot of human diseases. So they actually need what we need as well. They need that fresh food. And now that's becoming a more popular thought. It was not when we wrote our book, which is just recently. It wasn't as popular, but now people are saying, oh yeah, vets are saying you need to give your dog some vegetables. So that's a really good thing, because most of that dry food is nothing. It's like, gosh, it's processed. What's in it?
Yeah.
And when you process it, you're taking out all the life. And so if you're going to eat and feed your dog, there should be some life in all of that. And
I love that.
Yeah. So yeah. And in my tea book, I want to mention, because I love that book. It's very healing. There's all kinds of healing properties in teas, in herbal teas. And the book, my tea book, called Tea Vitalize, that you can get on Amazon. I love that book. It tells you how to make cold brew teas for the summer, which is coming up. And that is fantastic. You can serve that at a party. You can serve it in wine glasses. It's just, the Tea Vitalize book has just some great tea recipes. I know it sounds funny. It's, tea and water, but the way I presented it in that book takes it to a whole other level.
It's got some beautiful pictures too.
Yeah. My boyfriend is the photographer for all my books.
Oh, really?
I gave him a job since day one. And even he photographed, my granddaughter photographed the dogs, but he photographed the dog food, and then we let him eat it afterwards. It's natural food. So even though it's dog food, it's not packaged food. It's from the market, like you would eat.
So did you all sit around and have a meal of dog food?
He did. We gave him after we were
Just
shooting.
him. You didn't
Yeah, because we only did one plate to shoot the photo, and then we said you can eat it. And he said, "This is nice. I'm eating dog food." But he loved it. He ate all this. He ate all the food that we fixed. All of it.
Here's your payment.
Yeah, exactly. He says he always makes a joke. I will work for dog food. So that's his new line. But no, he loved it. He said, "This is so good." And I said, "I know, we just put a few more spices in it for him that you can't give the dog, but we did add a few things to, pump it up a little bit for him. But, because there's certain things dogs can't have spices. And we just fixed it like that. But my daughter fixed it for her dog, and then she has some of it herself and adds it to whatever she's eating too. So all I can say, it's a really great book. And I'm actually very proud of all my books, because I think they're evergreen. I don't think that they'll ever go away. Food is food. And I think all my books that you can get on Amazon, I think they're really worth having. Even if you don't go raw or you don't go vegan or vegetarian, it's good to eat that sometimes. It's good to eat and know that you're getting a nourishing meal. And I find that when you eat something nourishing, you feel more energetic afterwards. Like if you have a juice,
right?
And you eat a big salad, it's energizing. It's not food that brings you down and that's hard on your digestion. And that's one thing raw food is good for. It digests itself right away. Most of the other food you eat, even the cooked food that I eat today, it takes time to digest, because we've changed the molecular structure of the food by cooking it. When you eat it raw, it's already pre-digested in your body. It just does what it does. Yeah. But the other stuff takes time to digest.
So when you're cooking, are you really cooking? Like, are you putting it in an oven and turning it up to 350?
Yeah, when I say eating cooked food, I'll make an artichoke, or I make a squash or a sweet potato. That's cooking. I'm cooking that in the oven. Those are cooked foods that are on my regular eating pattern. Now, I don't cook everything. I'm not making I don't even know what to say what I'm making, but but those kind of things, I'm definitely cooking those when I'm cooking a sweet potato or an artichoke, or sometimes a steamed cauliflower or a roasted cauliflower. I love roasted vegetables, so sometimes I'll do that.
Yeah, I use my Instant Pot to steam.
I heard it's great.
It's fantastic.
It is, huh?
Oh my gosh. I use it to steam all my veggies. and I think it holds the nutrients in because it is a pressure cooker.
Right.
So easy to use. And I use
Right.
it for everything. I
I
make
hear.
soups, lentil
Yeah.
soups, because I'm vegetarian too. So I make all these wonderful soups with it. And you just put it all into one place. And it's just so easy.
I've heard really great things. I'm old fashioned, and when I'm steaming vegetables, I use the bamboo steamers. Those they're stacked up 3 or something, and
Yeah.
they're an Asian steamer, which they make dumplings in and stuff. And I
Yeah.
just layer that with the veggies and steam it out of the bamboo steamer. That's kind of my old fashioned way. I love steamed veggies, lightly steamed. So that's another thing I'll eat cook sometimes. My salads are raw. My lasagnas are raw. A lot of stuff that I eat still raw. I try to eat avocado every couple of days. I think
Me
that's good
too.
fat. I love that very much. I make a lot of different chopped salads. The Raw Vitalized book has a ton of great salads in there. And then it's got great breakfast things. Besides chia pudding, it's got some breakfast. Sometimes is difficult for people, but it's got really good recipes. We came up with that book. My youngest daughter, Mia, and myself did that book. And Mia called me one day and she said, "Mom, I'm just having trouble going back on raw again. I'm eating, vegetarian and vegan, but I'm so busy. Well, what can I do?" And I said, "Well, let's figure out a little list of stuff for you that you can do." So we both sat down and we put together we were calling each other back and forth. And I gave her a bunch of recipes. "We'll try this and try." She said, "Mom, these are delicious." And then she said, "Well, what if we do this or that?" So I said, "You know what? I think we should make a little pamphlet, a little book out of this." I said, "But I better call my agent because I don't know if I'm allowed to do that while I'm under, they get my first book, my second book. I don't know if I'm allowed. Let me find out." So I called her up. And then she said, "I'll get back to you." And then she said, "They want your book." I said, "Well, who?" She said, "Your publishers want you to publish it." So I said, "Okay, Mia, we have to get serious now. We're going to have to publish this book." So we did a grocery list, things that you have to get in your house early. And then we did it breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We did meals for that. And we came up with some, and I said, "I don't want all that all the tools. I don't want a dehydrator. I want to do it so it's easy, quick food.
Yes.
10, 15 minutes and you have a meal. As long as you have everything in the house, you can make a meal in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it'll be good for the family. So she started doing that. And then she started meal prepping. She's an executive director of a private preschool. And she said, "I don't have time to fix meals every day." So on Sunday, she does her shopping and she makes her 5 breakfasts.
That's what I do.
And 5 lunches.
I love it.
And this is what this book is about: 5 breakfasts, 5 lunches. And then she can come home and have time to do a dinner. But that's what she does every Sunday, is she prepares her food to have it. And so we came up with foods that really sustain itself. I mean, we have salads in a jar with these different dressings, and we tell you how to prepare it so it'll last all week. And then the same thing with mango pudding. I just talked to her before we got on. She said, "I'm buying mangoes now to make mango pudding." We make this delicious.
Mango pudding sounds delicious.
My God, it's in the Raw Vitalized book. It is delicious. It's got a little coconut oil in it and a little lime. I mean, it's so good. You can't believe it's just plain and simple. And you do it in your blender. That's the best place to do it. And it's a mango pudding. And then we make, all kinds of stuff. Desserts and everything are in that book. It's a really, really, really good book. And we have great desserts, and she fixes everything. Meal preps. I think that's a brilliant thing for people to do who work. It really makes your life easy and you eat healthier. And then she'll have, if she's hungry in between, she'll have a piece of fruit or something. But it seems to work for people to have that in the refrigerator that they could just grab.
Yeah, because then you make less decisions that way.
Right. And you don't waste much food, because the way we've set it up, if you're using that and you're making it for 5 days, you're using up what you bought instead of having it sit in the refrigerator, and it stays fresh. I promise you, those salads, because on the bottom, let's say, are your hard things that are chopped up, carrots, and if you have jicama in there or celery, whatever, it's hard. So your dressing is on the bottom, and only the hard stuff is sitting there, and the lettuce all goes on top. So when you turn that over in a bowl, your dressing comes out.
Oh, I never thought of that.
Oh, wait,
it's a great idea.
And you can make different kinds. You can put, if you're vegetarian, you can put beans in there, but you want to put all the hard stuff on the bottom, pack in the lettuce in a mason jar this big, and just take that and dump it into a bowl, and here's your dressing, and toss it. It's really unbelievable. And you can put garbanzo beans in, anything you want, that you can fix it in one day and have it for the week. And then you eat better, because you're fixing the fresh foods and healthy foods. And that's the whole point of that book, is that for busy people, this is a great way to take care of yourself. And you have to have some ritual in order to do that. You can't just say, oh, I'll just, because then you end up eating the wrong thing. You
Right.
get too hungry, there's nothing there in the refrigerator, you eat the wrong thing. And let's say a mom wants to fix some of these stuff for her kids as well. The kids have something to grab to eat that's healthy. Those breakfast dishes, some of those kind of things could be a snack for a kid, and you can make them and have them in the refrigerator and they won't be eating junky food. And
Yeah,
so
it's all about planning.
it's all
in
about
advance.
planning. Yeah, I think it's very important, especially, and then if you live alone, it's really important because you don't, sometimes they want to cook for one person. So this way, if you make 5 meals or 6, whatever you want to do for lunch and breakfast, and you have that to eat, that'll be healthy for you. And then you can figure out having a healthy dinner, whatever that is for you, whatever healthy dinner that is for you. And
such good
yeah,
tips.
yeah. So anyway, that whole book is full of good information.
Yeah.
Well, I've talked your head off here. I have no doubt about it that I haven't stopped for however long we've been talking. And
I think
don't
it's
know
been
why.
about 4 hours now.
It feels like 5, but I don't know why I have talked so much today. I mean, I know I'm a talker, but today I've overstepped my bounds. I think all the questions you had for me, I think I either answered them or God knows, maybe I left something out, but I tried to be. I think I've given you started, it's your fault because you started me out on the Showgirl thing.
See what happens?
I'm blaming
Warn people that if they ask you about Showgirl, they better.
That's it. You started talking about my past, and then I thought, well, after you did that, I had to bring you up to date somewhat to where I'm at now. Really, I'm gonna blame this on you. This talking jag I've been on. Well, I hope somebody got something out of it all.
Oh
that
my gosh, nice. You've given me much more than I could ever imagine. Thank you.
The main thing is I want to say that this is pretty good for almost 84. This is pretty good.
It's good for 64. It's good for 34.
To have this energy, it's good. I'm not, I'm not sorry about that because I know it's good for people to see that, I can still be lively and have passion and excited about life and, love food. I love food. My whole family, we're such foodies. We sit around and eat and talk about food. That's, they all cook. My kids all cook. My grandkids cook. And when we get together, we have so much fun. My son's a great cook. They're just great. I have 2 boys and 2 girls. And we all are love to be together and we cook together and we all love food. And we send each other things all the time, little food gifts and recipes and whatever. And I just think it's pretty awesome. I'm grateful every day, very blessed every day that I can enjoy my life like this, to be healthy.
Yeah. And you're so entertaining. They must.
Well, I entertained myself just now, so you just relax with your podcasts and your YouTube videos. Just entertain yourself, and you're in good shape. Whatever you think, just go for it. That's all. I just guarantee you, when you finish, you've had a good time. You don't know what it's done out there, but you've had a good time, and that's all you can do. So I had a good time.
I had a great time. I think next time you're going to have to come back, and I'm just going to go take it, Mimi. I'll just leave. I'll come back in an hour. You just.
I'm sure I have more to say. Well, this is what I say when I say I laugh at myself. I can't believe I've just taken over your whole show and talk, but this is what I say this is what cracks me up is that I have my personalities come out in different ways. It depends on who I'm with or what someone says to me. And you asked me about Showgirl and that did it.
Man, I love your energy. It is so inspiring to listen to you and watch you, and you're hilarious. And I don't have to do anything. I just sit here and just listen, and so much good information. Now I'm really inspired to go do my Facebook Lives.
Oh, good. Just be yourself.
And I love it.
You'll see what comes out. I'm sure we all have some humor in us and whatever. Just say what you feel. I think that makes it really more interesting. Although I overdid it a little bit, but that's okay. You can edit me. You can make 3 videos out of this.
No. We have to do a WWMD. What would you do?
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Well, I wish you the best of luck on your podcast and you being
Oh,
fully yourself. And
thank you. I'll
that
send you
is
the link when it gets out there
good.
on the
Okay.
YouTube as well. I'll send you the link.
Okay.
And then
Good.
come back again and tell me what you didn't tell me today.
And there's a lot more that maybe I can't say, but
Oh, then you must. I can't wait. Please come back.
Thank you so much. Well, I had a lot of fun. That's all I can say.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so
Good.
much.
All right.
Have a great day.
Nice talking at you.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.